And a good day to all of you. Today is Earth Day, a day that we celebrate the power and beauty and wonder of this place we live that gives us nourishment and heals us. May we honor it and may we give back to it in the way that it gives to us. So as this pandemic and economic turndown goes on, and is hopefully being healed quickly, it causes us to wonder what's important. It causes us to rethink and reset our priorities. And so today I want to suggest to you that what is important is what is real. And the question, what is real, is the question of our life, isn't it? When I was in college, I was in the library studying one night, and I passed a little exhibit, in a little glass case, and there was a little pile of powder. And I read the legend, and it said, this is the chemical remains of the human being. And it was carbon and potassium and all that good stuff. And this little legend told the story of the estimated times this person had breathed, estimated number of heartbeats, estimated number of times he made love. And it kind of put his physical life in a perspective. And I thought, wow, now I was in college and breathing and heart beating and lovemaking was very exciting to me at that time. And I thought, wow, if if this guy did all these things and all that's left of him is a little tiny piece of powder, then what's really the value of those things? So I'm not suggesting we don't breathe or beat our hearts or make love, but I am suggesting that it gives us the chance to think, are we our bodies only? Or is there more to us than our bodies are revealing? So a more recent story about a Dutch man named Emil Ratelband, a 69-year-old man who petitioned the Dutch court to change his legal age to 49, even though he was officially 69. And he said, I've been to doctors and I've been tested, and they all confirm that my vital signs are equal to that of a 49-year-old man. So people are now allowed to change their gender physically and on their driver's license. So I would now like my physical age to be listed as 49. Well, I don't know how the case turned out at this point. But he has a good point that we tend to identify ourselves with the physical only and the limited when there's so much more to life than the eye reveals. And I want to suggest to you that the one thing that will outlast all of our physical activities is the experience of love. I wrote a book called Happily Even After about couples who get divorced or break up, but they want to remain friends and they support each other. And they tended to reframe their relationship from what the Course in Miracles would call the special relationship, what can I get, to what the Course would call a holy relationship. How can we support each other? And these couples ended up having beautiful relationships, even though they'd gotten divorced, because they wanted to cooperate with childcare, because they wanted to make each other's lives as easy as possible. So in the end, even though they had ups and downs in their physical relationship or their emotional relationship, there was an element of love that carried through. And they all reported, this made the biggest difference in my life, to choose love. Remember the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze? Well, the story goes he gets killed and then he's trying to channel through to help his girlfriend. Pretty good story. And you might remember at the end of the movie, after they've gone through all these trials and tribulations, caught the killer and all that, he's about to go into the light. He's finished with his limited form. And he turns and he says to his girlfriend or someone who's listening, he says, wow, he says, all you take with you is the love. All you take with you is the love. And it reminds me of the end of the Beatles song where they go, in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. which means that you only get to experience as much love as you let pass through you. Now, we're all looking for somebody to love us and to prove we're lovable and attractive and take care of us. That's all fine, but ultimately, unless the love channels through you out to the world, you're not going to experience it. You could have 1,000 people loving you, but if you're not experiencing love yourself, you miss the whole point. So what you want to do is look within for the love that matters. Now, I was with my mom when she passed away years ago. Never been with anybody who died before. And I was alone with her in her bedroom, and I watched. She took a breath in, and she breathed out, and she didn't breathe in again. I thought, that's interesting. And I realized that she had gone. So I just sat with her for a while and meditated and talked to her in my mind. And I looked at her body, and I thought, well, was that really my mother? There was somebody who lived in that body, who animated that body, who cared for me and nurtured me and forgave me and supported me and gave me her life savings to publish my first book. And she was a wonderful mother. And I realized that the body was the channel through which she delivered that love. And now the body wasn't there anymore, but in a way it didn't matter that much, although I wish she had gone on, because my true relationship was from spirit to spirit, not from body to body. And if you have a loved one who's passed on, you know this is true. And she's still with me. She's still whispering in my ear, giving me advice. Jewish mothers never really die. They just change form. But I did learn that what survived her was the love that she was and the love that she gave. Now, another word for love is kindness, because kindness is the venue through which love expresses in human form. There was a Jewish theologian named Abraham Joshua Heschel. He gave a really good quote. He said, "When I was a young man, I admired people who were clever. And now that I'm an old man, I admire people who are kind." And I certainly have followed that same evolution. There's a lovely philosopher named Robert Brault, B-R-A-U-L-T. You can look him up on the internet. And he said, "Today I bent the truth to be kind, and I have no regret, for I am far surer of what is kind than I am of what is true." Shall I say that again? Today I bent the truth to be kind, so I have no regret, for I am far surer of what is kind than I am of what is true. This is a nugget. This is gold. And what he's saying is that, we all have a different idea of what is true. Many different religions, philosophies, belief systems. But in the end, some of them seem right, and they come and go, and they're changing, and we agree, we disagree, we have different political ideas, so what? In the end, in the long run, it's kindness that really means something. And as we're having to reach out and help each other and give each other money and give each other food and give each other places to live during this pandemic and take care of the ill and support those who are grieving and help people who can't get together with their beloveds, it's kindness that's going to bring us through this, not cleverness. Cleverness can help in some ways, but really it's the kind thing that will work ultimately, and kindness is a form of love. Now, there was a really interesting movie I saw. It's called Noel, N-O-E-L, and it's about, 5 or 6 people who are struggling at Christmas time, and they're trying to help each other, and some aren't. And there's an older man, played by Alan Arkin, whose wife has died not long ago. And they had an issue of forgiveness, and she did not forgive him. I don't know if he cheated on her or what, but she died before he could get her to forgive him, and he's living in torment because that relationship was incomplete. And so he meets this young policeman, and for some reason, this older man believes that the spirit of his wife who's passed on is living through this policeman. And you don't really know if he's delusional or it's really so, but it doesn't matter. Well, at first, this policeman is really put off because he thinks this man is gay and he's trying to get with him and on and on. And the old man badgers him to please forgive me, please forgive me, please forgive me. And the cop says, I'm not your wife, get over it. Well, eventually, I think maybe Alan Arkin knows that he's dying as well. I forget that piece of it. But eventually, the policeman has compassion. And he thinks, I can help relieve this man of suffering by giving forgiveness to him as if I'm his wife. And so he agrees to say, yes, I'm your wife, and I forgive you. And the relief that comes over this older man is monumental. He's healed. Now, we could play with this metaphysically. You could say, well, on a soul level, his ex-wife really did forgive him because it's only the human personality in the body that withholds forgiveness. And when she passed on, she's in a higher space, so she's forgiving him. And God certainly forgives him. So when that policeman was channeling forgiveness, he was really channeling truth. So this was the meeting point of truth and kindness. Because you could say, well, he wasn't really his wife, so why should he forgive him? Well, he's a channel for God, and God forgives, so the forgiveness was complete. So in being kind, we are being loving and we're being truthful. They all come together at one point. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Course in Miracles tells us that all things are lessons that God would have me learn. So what's going on the planet now with the pandemic, with the economic turndown, is a huge lesson that God would have us learn. If we master it, we can go on to the next level. If not, we're going to have to just spin around and it might even become harder. So can we not milk this moment and say, there's a gift of love that we're being asked to give and receive? It's just as important to be a recipient of love as it is to be a good giver of love. So maybe you need help at this time. Maybe you need some food. Maybe you need some place to live. Maybe you need some medical help. Maybe you're being stubborn and not asking for it. What if you said, please help me? That's a valid prayer. And there's somebody out there. For everybody who needs help, there's somebody to give it. Now, one more piece from the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles also tells us that the fact that all change is helpful is the understanding of a spiritual master, that all change is helpful. And I've really thought about that for years. And this morning it came to me that one of the reasons that all change is helpful is because when we have to deal with a change, we realize that things that change are not permanent and are not therefore not real and are not important. So when something in the outside world changes, like a job or finances or a relationship or living situation, it really forces to look within and ask, is there a part of me, is there a part of the world that does not change? Is there a rock solid place I can fall back onto that is not subject to the winds of change? So one of the reasons that all change is helpful is it reminds us that what does not change is present. And we are safe, and we are whole, and we are connected, and we are loved. And nothing that changes in the world can really touch our spiritual nature because our spiritual nature is created by God. And the most repeated lesson in A Course in Miracles is, I am as God created me. I have not changed from the innocent, beautiful, perfect, whole, healthy, alive, eternal one that God created me to be. And so we are grateful for change because it keeps us shaken up and it keeps us moving, it keeps us progressing in the physical world. And it also reminds us of the eternality and perfection of the spiritual world. And the spiritual world is based on love and only love. Love never dies and only love is real. What a beautiful lesson we're all learning together. Thank you for joining me today. It's a delight to be with you. Thank you for all the lovely comments as we have the live chat, and thank you for your follow-up comments. Leave a note on the comments if you hear of a viral act of kindness or some insight you're having that's making your life better and the lives of others better as well. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow.